Today I'm playing Football Manager 26 for the very first time. And I've been given a day of super early access before the game's even been released. So I'm going to spend the next 24 hours playing FM26. I've given myself a set of challenges to complete in my 24 hours, with the main one being to try and win the Champions League. Okay, then here it begins. 24 hours to play Football Manager 26. The time is 7 minutes past midnight, and I've made myself manager of Manchester United. I've chosen them because they're the team that finished lowest in the Premier League table that I think I can feasibly win the Champions League with in less than 24 hours. And as I load into the game here, look, I can see that we've got a budget of £13 million and we're predicted to finish 5th in the league. We do, though, of course, have a massive squad of players with lots of players that we could sell to try and give us some transfer budget to sign the players that I actually want to use. At this stage, I should also mention the other challenges that I've set myself for today's video. As well as winning the Champions League, I also have to bring a new gen into the first team and start them at least 10 times. I have to do the double over Manchester City. I have to beat every other supposed top 6 club at least once. And I also have to break the Manchester United transfer record, which according to the game is still the £89 million paid for Paul Pogba in 2016. Oh, and for every challenge that I don't complete, I'm going to give away a copy of FM26 to one of my subscribers. So you should subscribe. But right now, I suppose it's getting pretty late and I've got an entire new game to get to grips with. This UI is very, very different. I have no idea what things like tactics are going to look like. I need to go and set my in possession and out of possession tactics. And I also need to go and act pretty aggressively, I think, in the transfer window if we're going to complete this challenge. And I also need to move quite quickly. So I'm going to go and get started and I'll be back with an update. Okay, so I've been playing for a bit now and I need to whisper because it is actually 2:18 in the morning. And after a couple of hours of playing through this game now, there is a lot to get used to. It's very, very different to FM24. The UI, it is going to take some getting used to for you guys. I've managed to set us up in a tactic and I've done some transfers, and it is actually the day that the season is going to start. We play Arsenal in the first game of the season, and this is how I've set up the tactics. We are going to use the 3 at the back system that Ruben Amorim is still persevering with and finally maybe getting a bit of a tune out of. There's been a lot of talk about whether the squad is fit for a 3 at the back system, but it feels almost counterintuitive to now switch away from it immediately. Instead, I'm going to persevere at least for the first season, I think. We're going to have Lamens in goal as per usual. We're going to have a back 3 of Maguire, De Ligt and Euro, I think, as the starter there. Oh, in the wing-back positions, I'm going to go Dorgu at left-back, and then I've signed Thiago Santos from Lille as a new right wing-back. I wanted a bit more pace, I think, at right wing-back. Mazraoui is a decent footballer. I think he's actually good on the ball. But I wanted just pure pace, I think, at wing-back. And it will allow me maybe to sell somebody like Dallo before the window closes. Maybe Ahmad as well, who has got interest. Now, I'm not actually against selling Ahmad, even though United fans, I know that you're probably against that. But in this particular save, where I'm trying to win the Champions League as fast as possible, that one might be a way to get a little bit of money in. We'll see. In the midfield, I have made a big signing. I have signed Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. Something I've noticed in FM26 is that Forest are having a bit of a fire sale at the beginning of the game. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I think it might be financial, but they are willing to sell most of their players. So I've signed Elliot Anderson for, what, 5 million more than they signed him for? That felt like big money when they first signed him, but £40 million I think now would be a real bargain for Elliot Anderson. So he's come into our midfield. We're going to go Mbuemo on the right-hand side, Mateus Cunha on the left-hand side, and then we're going to go with Sesko down the middle. Out of possession, it does shift a little bit deeper. I've kept it really simple. There's the combined one, look. And if you show both alongside each other here, you can just see how it transitions from when we've got the ball a little bit further up the pitch. And when we don't have the ball, they'll drop in and become defensive midfielders. There are so many new roles, by the way. The team instructions are pretty much the preset instructions for a tiki-taka system. And then I think as we play for a bit more, I'll be tweaking it, changing it, etc., etc. The last thing I need to update you on before I probably go to bed, to be honest, is the transfer activity still in play, which is the potential signing of Giorgio Scalvini for £66 million. I think getting a brilliant young defender like Scalvini, and especially if we're going to play the 3 at the back, maybe to come in and replace Maguire potentially, eventually even. So I'm hoping that one goes through. And there are a few sales out that you may have noticed not being in the squad so far. And that is Manuel Ugarte for £36 million has gone to Al Ahly. Mason Mount, again, maybe this one won't be popular, but I didn't really see where we would play him in this system. And I wanted the money, to be honest. So £47 million, I've sold Mason Mount to Al Ittihad. And I've also allowed Altay Bayindir to go to Besiktas for £4 million. That's where we are at. I think now, because it's late, I'm going to go and get some sleep and try and get up bright and early to make the most of this 24 hours that I've got. Okay, good morning. It is nearly 10 to 9 in the morning, and I've been playing for a while already this morning, and I played for a little bit longer last night, actually. I think I'm starting to get my head around things. I'm starting to get used to a little bit the UI and the way that the game flows. And as I've mentioned, it's going to take quite a lot of getting used to, I think. And it is now the 31st of December. So let's lock in a little bit. But first, let me update you on what I've been up to in the meantime. And let's start on transfer history, actually. We did end up signing Giorgio Scalvini for £66 million. I also have added Dodo because Santos actually did his knee ligaments and was out for 3 months, which was a bit annoying. So I decided to sign another right back. And it just means that I will have to be a bit more aggressive in selling the likes of Dallo and Mazraoui. And that is our summer business. Anderson, Santos, Scalvini and Dodo. We are a little bit light up front, I will say, especially in light of these sales. We sold Tyrell Malacia for 400k. I loaned out Joshua Zirkzee, but on this deal, it is a transfer arranged in the future. £40 million, look, Joshua Zirkzee to Atletico Madrid. And then the final outgoing was Diogo Dallo for £21.5 million. I now must tell you how we are doing, though, in all of our competitions. Remember, United aren't in the Champions League for the first season, so we can't go and do this in one season. It will take at least 2 seasons. And I am, though, quite happy with how everything seems to be working at the moment. We're 4th in the league halfway through our first season. We've played 19 and won 11 of them, drawn 2. We have lost 6 games, which is maybe a little bit worrying if you look at the teams around us. Liverpool top the league on 47. We're doing okay. And what I really want to show you before we do move on is how the graphics engine actually looks. And I want to show you actually by jumping into a game here. This was our last game against Wolves and it didn't go particularly well for us, but just have a look at how the match engine, the graphics engine in-game actually looks. Now, we did score a goal here. Casemiro into Santos, into Cunha. It's lovely football look. And then Bruno Fernandes finished it. So yeah, we did lose the game, but I did want to show you what the graphics engine looked like. I think I'm getting to grips with things and we're doing okay. And we've now got the January window to go and do where we've got money to spend, £64 million. And because we're in a bit of a rush, I think I'm going to go and spend it. So I'm going to come back at the end of the January window and hopefully we've brought some brilliant players to the club. All right, here we are then at the end of January and we've done some transfer business. But before that, I have an update on my challenges that I'm trying to complete. One of the challenges was to beat every one of the supposed top 6. So there are 5 teams for us to beat: Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Liverpool and Spurs. And we've made some progress on that because first game of the season, I told you we're playing Arsenal. We beat them 2-1. Matheus Cunha scored twice in this game. So Arsenal, tick them off that challenge list and add to them Chelsea, because we also beat Chelsea 3-2 here. Look, Sesko, Dodo and Cunha with our goals in a 3-2 win. So 2 down, 3 to go. And those 3, I mean, yeah, we haven't beaten them yet. We actually lost 5-1 to Liverpool, which is embarrassing at Anfield. And we've lost to City as well. Even though we did beat City in the Carabao Cup, I'm not going to count this one because I think it should be league fixtures only. And we lost our first league fixture against Man City 3-0 at the Etihad, which also for our other challenge of beating them home and away, we've lost to them away. And then if I scroll down, we actually lost to them at home anyway. So we've really failed on that one today. But Chelsea and Arsenal have been beaten. So that is progress. And we're about to actually, I suppose, get our first new gen youth intake. So maybe one of those is good enough to bring into our first team to make progress on that challenge. Now, though, it is the end of January and I have, as I promised, made a signing. I have signed Antoine Semenyo for £80 million. This isn't more than the £89 million transfer records. We haven't completed that challenge yet, but I'm sure there is plenty of time to do big money signings. Where did you get the £80 million from, though, I hear you ask? Well, some of it was done on installments, but the rest of it was because I did sell a couple of players in January. I've sold Ahmad for £43 million. That's maybe a little bit low, but again, it's about getting the money in and being aggressive in the transfer window. And then finally, Noussair Mazraoui has moved on loan to Galatasaray, and that's our transfer business. We still sit 4th in the league after 24 games, so I'm just hoping to make sure we finish in that top 4, at the very least the top 5. And I'm going to go and try and speed run through now to get this first season finished so I can once again concentrate on transfers. See you in a minute. So it's taken me a couple of hours, but it is now the end of season number 1. We are maybe a little bit behind schedule if I'm going to get this done. But the big news is that Manchester United are now at least in the Champions League. We've qualified for the Champions League. We've also been given our budget for our second season. And it's a very healthy, very nice looking £92 million. Add on top of that a few sales, and I reckon we've got a bit of a war chest to go into the transfer window with. If I show you then how things have gone, this was the second half of the season from January onward. We've been a bit up and down. You see February here, we lost our first game to Spurs at home. We still haven't beaten Spurs as well, by the way. Then we beat Chelsea in April. We drew to Liverpool, so we still haven't beaten them, look. And then it was a good end to the season with wins against Sunderland, Forest and Brighton. If we go across here to the tactics, I can show you some of the player stats too. It was a good season for most of our new signings, particularly actually Elliot Anderson, who played 42 times alongside Bruno Fernandes and was pretty good. Do I go and switch up the system, change to like a 4-2-3-1, take out one of the defenders now that we're established? I feel like we've got the players for it. We could maybe push Bruno up and sign another midfielder. But the big news is, of course, that we are in the Champions League for season number 2. We ended up finishing third. It's 75 points, 10 points off Liverpool, who are champions, Arsenal second. We finished above City, even though we lost home and away. It's a good sign. It's a good start. I'm happy with where we are. But the other bit of news that I need to bring you before we continue is that we have had our youth intake. We've had a couple of players come through our youth intake that I think could become the new gen that gets at least 10 starts. They are Ashley Corral, who is a defensive midfielder, can play at centre-back, can play in midfield too. 16 years old. Good value on him and apparently pretty decent potential. 19 determination, 18 teamwork. He looks like he could be, I mean, he doesn't look 16, I think you'd probably say, wouldn't you? But he could be an option. And then the other one is Mark Fishman-Rostill, who is a striker, could turn into a good player. Also really good teamwork as well. Those two, I think especially, I'm going to do it now actually. I'm going to put Ashley Corral into the first team, and I'm going to try and get him some game time next year. Maybe depending on how the season's going, I'll aim towards getting him those 10 starts, because I need to start ticking off some of these challenges because we've done none of them, but there is now a transfer window and a lot of money to spend. So maybe I should go and get a record signing. Record signing complete. We have signed not one, but 2 new record transfer signings for Manchester United. And I have spent £310 million. How do I do it, I hear you ask? Well, installments is the answer. They're still really easy to use in FM26. And I've really gone aggressive because of the nature of this challenge. And we have signed Michael Elise to come and be, I'm hoping, an even more efficient attacker in these wide areas. And I've also signed Bradley Barcola as well to play on the other side. I've revolutionised this United attack, and I'm quite excited about how it's going to go in our second season. I have, as I say, also signed Lamine Kamara for £81 million, Jarzinho Malanga for £8 million, who's going to be a youngster to be a backup in our attack. And then also, this one was already arranged, Christian Orozco from Fortaleza for 750k. It's a big window. We've actually got money still to spend because of the installments that I've used. I've also raised £135 million plus that £92 million that we already had. So you can see where the money's come from here. I've sold some big players as well. Lissandro Martinez for 33 million. Marcus Rashford, this was agreed in the loan. I actually had an idea to keep him and I didn't realise that this was mandatory. But £30 million has gone to Barcelona, of course. Xerxes for 30 million to Atletico Madrid, as I mentioned before. Luke Shaw's gone for 16 million to Al Qadsiya in Saudi. Collier, 11.25 million pounds, and I know it's a homegrown player, but that's good money for him, I think. Hoyland's gone on another loan. He's gone to Benfica. There is a chance that this becomes permanent, but it might not. Harry Mas has gone for 3 million, and Radek Vitek has gone for 2.7 million pounds. There's also Anana gone on another loan. Mazraoui's gone on another loan again to Galatasaray. It's all change, and that's actually not it. I've also signed Zion Suzuki. It's probably too much at £30 million, but he's going to be a competitor for Lamens in goal. Angelo Stiller for £47.5 million, I think is going to be a bargain because he's a fantastic footballer. A new left back. Didn't love the way that Dorgu defended, so I've gone for Valentin Barco, who seems to be tearing it up IRL for Strasbourg. And then finally another youth player, Quentin Njanto, is a young striker who's going to be the backup for Sesko. Again, to reiterate, a lot of this is in future installments. If we don't win the Champions League in the next couple of seasons, we could be in a bit of trouble, but I think we have to speculate to accumulate. And it's nice to test whether this still works in FM26. So far, so good. It means that our tactics screen now looks like this. And you'll notice I have gone to a 4-2-3-1. I may well revert back. I can already see it happening where if this doesn't work, we'll go back to the back three. It might be a bit more solid and then we'll go from there. But for now, I do want to try it. We're going to go with a 4-2-3-1. Suzuki in goal. Dodo and Barco as the wing backs or full backs here. With Dodo playing as a playmaking wing back at right back and Barco inverting or an inside full back at left back. Yoro and Scalvini at centre back. Although these positions are up for grabs. De Ligt is actually really good last year, so he might end up starting. Harry Maguire is still here. He signed a new contract. And actually, that reminds me, a lot of where we got this money from wasn't even from sales. It was from released players, because on this list of players released was Casemiro and Jadon Sancho, and both of them were on north of £200,000 per week, which I then used to adjust the money around and put it into transfer budget so that I could actually spend it. That probably is worth mentioning here as well. Then, though, up at the top of the pitch, you got Bruno Fernandes now in the number 10 spot, which is where Cunha could also then rotate with him. We've got Elise on the right-hand side, Barcola on the left-hand side, and then Sesko through the middle. I'm excited for this season. I'm dreaming big here. Why can't we go and win the league and the Champions League with this squad right here? And that's actually pretty apt, because we are just about exactly halfway through our challenge. We've got 12 hours just under remaining to try and win the Champions League with United. And I've still got these challenges to try and complete. So I best get a wriggle on. Welcome back to the January transfer window then in 2027. We're about halfway through our second season here at Manchester United. And things are going pretty well. We are currently sitting in the league in third position. But we are ahead of Arsenal, Spurs and City. And ahead of City might make you think, have we beaten them? Well, no is the answer. In terms of that particular challenge, we lost away to City 1-0 and we play them again towards the end of the season in April. So again, another season goes by where we won't be able to tick that one off. That might be one copy of FM that I need to give away. We did, though, back in November, beat Spurs. So that is ticking off a third of the 5 other big 6 teams that we now need to beat. So we've only got Liverpool and City left to beat. And I've just shown you that we lost to City earlier. We have also, so far with Liverpool, we play them in the next game, actually. So if we beat them, that could tick that one off as well. But earlier in the season, we drew 2-2 away at Anfield. Look, now I'm coming back in January, not because of transfer business, actually. I don't think I'm going to do any more transfer business in this particular window, and that's not because we've not got money to spend. We do have a little bit, but because I think we've actually gone quite big in the window. And on top of everything that I did in the summer, I actually made one more signing. Jared Branthwaite was available for £60 million, and again, not all of that up front. He's going to come in and be our left-sided defender, naturally left-footed, which I think is going to be a nice option for us. He's also massive, and maybe we can score some set pieces. I haven't scored loads so far in FM26. I need to get to grips with this set pieces, because big defender scoring headers, that's a big part of me winning lots and lots of games in previous editions. With us sat third in the league, the squad now looks like this. And one thing you may notice is that, yeah, I've gone back to the 3 at the back. I think, as I kind of alluded to, and I wondered if this was going to be the case, I think it does make us a little bit more defensively solid. If I show you the form at the start of the season, it was okay, but we were dropping points here and there. Look, we drew to Liverpool, which is actually okay. Drew to Chelsea, drew to Palace, lost to Brentford. And then I think it was this game that I switched back. After the Brentford loss, I switched back to the 3 at the back. And you can just see straight away, so much more solid. Only losing later on in December, we lost to Man City and then to Real Madrid. In the Champions League, I'll give you that update now, actually. We're 13th, look, after 7 games. So with 1 game to go, it looks like it's going to be a playoff place for us. It does look like we're going to qualify, at least for the next round, but we're going to have to play that extra playoff round. But that's okay. For a first season back in the Champions League, I was wondering whether we might win it this year. I think it might be a little bit ahead of schedule, but we're going to try our best. The other positive is that I have managed to give Ashley Correll 5 appearances so far this year. 4 in the Premier League, 1 in the FA Cup. 5 more appearances and that challenge will be completed as well. So we're making progress, and I think I'm having fun with this game right now. I'm hoping for a big end to the season though, and who knows how far we can go in the Champions League. As I play through now, if we get anywhere near that final, I'm sure I'll be back to do it as a live com with you. Fingers crossed that is the case, and I best carry on playing. Okay, welcome back to the end of season number 2, where I'm showing you the way that we've just gone out of the Champions League. We made it outrageously to the Champions League semi-final, and this was the result. At least they look equalising on the night to make it 4-3 on aggregate to PSG, but then PSG, they just had too much for us. I said that we had a chance to win this Champions League. There's their Emery making it 5-3 on aggregate after 56 minutes. They added a third here. Look, Nuno Mendes, who I tried to sign, and I think I might try and sign again, giving it to Vitinha to make it through. A 6-3, the aggregate score at just gone it's nearly 5:15 in the evening. So we've got just under 7 hours, 6 hours 45-ish still to go. And I'm going to have to go and crack on with another season here, because the dream ends, although we got to the Champions League semi-final. We lost 3-2 in the home leg and then 3-1 in the away leg. PSG were just a little bit too good. Before that, we had beaten Villarreal. We had a quite favourable run, I'm going to be honest with you. We beat Villarreal and Inter, or Bluneri as they're called in this year's game. That was pretty tough, I suppose, but Villarreal in the quarterfinal was a nice draw. The knockout playoff round for us was Lille. We beat them 7-2 on aggregate, and that was pretty straightforward. It's definitely been a season of progress, though. So getting to the Champions League semi-final. In the league, we finished third again, 77 points. Liverpool won the league again with 94, and then Chelsea in second. Again, we finished above Arsenal. We finished above City, finished above Spurs. And we have made progress in our challenges as well, because we also did beat Manchester City for the first time in this save so far. It was a 2-0 win at Old Trafford. Annoyingly, we did lose to them in the away leg, meaning that we didn't get the home and away challenge completed. But it means in terms of beating the other top 6 teams, we only have Liverpool left to beat. And if we win against them next season, we will tick off that challenge, which would be very nice indeed. I'm worried about beating City home and away though. And with less than 7 hours left, I don't think I'm going to get 2 seasons in. So I think we have to do it in our third and probably now final season. Annoyingly as well, because it became everything became quite serious in the second half of this season, I also couldn't really give game time to Ashley Corral. So he finishes the season with just 5 appearances. I need to play in next season to tick off that challenge as well. So I'm now a little bit worried about how long we've got left. I need to get through the entirety of next season in what is going to become probably a bit of a rush. So I'm going to go and spend some money. We've got £56 million in our budget that I'm hoping I can top up with a few sales as well. And I'll be back to start, I guess, what is going to be our final season, season 3. Okay, then we're into our final season. We're into our final 5 hours of the challenge. It is just gone past 7 p.m, meaning we've got 4 hours and 53 minutes to win the Champions League, as well as trying to finish off our other challenges. Just to go through those challenges, we still need to make sure that Ashley Corral gets those 10 appearances in the first team. We need to do the double over Man City this season, because we won't have time to do another season. I think we'll just about have time to finish this one. And we just need to beat Liverpool to finish off challenge number 4, as we have managed to beat the other teams from the supposed Big 6 earlier in the save. And we've also broken the old transfer record multiple times, including twice this season, as I have signed Diogo Costa and Eder Militao. A bit of experience and a bit of quality. I'm not sure I quite got it right with Suzuki in goal, and Costa is definitely going to be an upgrade on him. That's not actually it though. Probably the best bit of business this summer has actually been the signing on a free transfer of Harry Kane. I am now guaranteeing goals. Harry Kane is, he's getting on a little bit. We're in 2027 here, so his pace isn't exactly optimal, although he's never really relied on his pace. And look at the quality in the other areas of the pitch. He is going to score goals for us. He's on a 1-year deal on £375,000 per week, but I think it's actually going to be worth it. He comes in to lead our line in competition with Benjamin Sesko, and I've also sold a few players. Chido Obi I've sold, even though I really like him, but he was never going to play ahead of those guys. Brian Mbeumo has now gone to PSG, £65 million for him. And also, before it ticked over, I did also sell Harry Maguire for £8 million, Patrick Dorgu for £44.5 million, and then I've loaned out a few players there, as you can see. And that means with time running out, heading into our final season, our squad looks like this. Our starting 11 is going to be something like this. Costa, Militao, Scalvini, Branthwaite, Barco, Dodo, Stiller, Fernandez, Elise, Barcola, and Harry Kane leading the line for us. Now, that's a Champions League winning team. I'm saying it right now. That team can win the Champions League. It'll just come down to whether we actually do it. I'm going to go and try and speed through this season, and I'll see you at maybe the halfway point to give you an update. Okay, it is getting pretty late right now. It's 9:30 in the evening, and that means with us now in January, at the end of January, in our third season, we have 2.5 hours to finish this season and to try and win the Champions League. The good news is that we are still in the Champions League. We have qualified for the playoff round. Again, it'd be so nice to finish in the top 8, just one of these seasons, but no, it's the playoff every single time. That hasn't been drawn yet, but 8 games, 3 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss is enough to see us through. And I'm still feeling pretty confident, even more confident, because I've actually again added to the squad with a new transfer. Nuno Mendes was a late signing at the end of that summer window for a pretty hefty £90 million. And I do think he is an upgrade on Barco, and our squad just gets stronger and stronger. And we've got that depth, I'm hoping now, to take us through these latter stages of this Champions League. Domestically, in the league, we're going well, but this is very much a secondary thing for me right now. The aim of this, the challenge, was to win the Champions League, and we're still in it, but we've only got 2.5 hours to play. I did have to come back now, though, at the end of January, because we have finished off one of our challenges. I have now beaten Liverpool for the first time. It's taken 3 seasons to beat them once, but a Bradley Barcola goal after Alexis McAllister was sent off means that we have completed that particular challenge. And even more impressively, challenge number 3 has also been ticked off because we've beaten City home and away. We beat them away from home here, look, in January with a Harry Kane, a Semenyo and a Sesko goal. But way back at the start of the season, we beat them at home at Old Trafford, courtesy of a Harry Kane goal. And that means our only remaining challenges to complete is to win the Champions League, obviously, and to bring a new gen into our first team squad from our youth intake. And that new gen we've of course chosen to be Ashley Correll, and Ashley Correll has played 9 games so far. He is 1 appearance away from completing this challenge. In the remainder of this season, if we win the Champions League and I give Ashley a couple of starts, I will have somehow managed to do this. But time is running out. I must now go and finish this season in the next couple of hours. But I will be back if we make it to the latter stages of the Champions League. And we might just have some live comms to finish off. Can we do it? Let's go and find out. Okay, the time is 23:37. And when this was happening, when Liam Delap just made it 3-2 to Chelsea in the 93rd minute, I wasn't expecting that to happen from Thiago Santos. That made it 3-3 on the night, as you see, and that made it 4-3 on aggregate. And that, my friends, was the Champions League semi-final. We are in the final with 22 minutes left to play. We are 1 game, 1 victory away from completing every challenge. And yes, I mean that when I say every challenge, because as well as making it to the Champions League final, I have also given Ashley Correll 12 starts and 3 sub appearances this season, meaning we have ticked off all of the challenges except for the main one, the big one, which is to win the Champions League. We play Liverpool in the Champions League final. And of course, we're going to do it as a live com. The team for the final where we play Liverpool is Costa in goal, Militao, Scalvini, Branthwaite, Dodo at right back, Barco at left back, Nuno Mendes is cup tied, Anderson and Fernandes, Elise, Barcola and Kane. Of course, we'll do it as a live com. And of course, Ashley Correll is on the bench in case we need to try and lean into that narrative at some point, which sounds like something I might do, throwing him on to try and get a goal. That's Andy Robertson at centre-back. He must be ancient and he's not a centre-back. So that's a really interesting... Is that something we can get at? Maybe. The rest of the team looks stacked. Tonali, Gravenberch, Salah, Wirtz, Isak and Ekatike. I think Isak is out wide here. It is Robertson at centre-back and it is Isak out wide on the left with Ekatike leading the line. We're almost at the half an hour mark now and there hasn't been many proper highlights so far. Maybe we can make one here as we try and play it out. That's awful. Jared Branthwaite's giving it straight to a Liverpool player. Ekatike's in. That is terrible playing out from the back from Branthwaite, and we've got away with one. That's a really bad miss, actually. Here is a highlight. Scalvini, Militao, our defenders building from the back. We've gone back to the keeper. We saw a disastrous bit of playing out before. Let's try and avoid that. Elliot Anderson into Elise, into Harry Kane. Ball out wide now to Valentin Barco. This is a good move. Back post header from Elise. Fernando Bruno! Bruno scores! The man that stayed in the team the entire save, the only remaining Manchester United player in our starting lineup, has given us the lead in the Champions League final. Valentin Barco, little volleyed cross, header back into the middle from Elise, and Bruno on the flush volley has given us the lead. This is, oh my word, what is the time? It's 15 minutes remaining. And we are approaching half-time, leading in the Champions League final against Liverpool. And that is the half-time whistle. I am not going to say anything at all to them. I'm just going to say, get back out there. Continue as you're doing. It's quite cagey, but we've got that lead now. Maybe we can try and shut it down later on. Yeah, here comes Salah, though, for Liverpool down the right-hand side. Into Ekatike. Oh, my word. Isak, it's an open goal. He's put it, oh, my word, straight at the keep. What has just happened? What even was that highlight? We've got away with it. That must have been huge XG. They've got a higher XG than us. Wirtz now. Can he find a pass? He's gone for a ball over the top for Alexander Isak to equalise. Isak! Costa saved it. Again, I don't know what I've just seen, but that's a save. It's gone for a corner. Isak has missed some 2 really gilt-edged chances, hasn't he? There's 15 to play, and every single highlight is Liverpool's at the moment. There's 3 minutes to play. 2 minutes to play. About to win the Champions League for the first time in FM26. And I doubt many other people have won it before this. I'm going to say that. It's gone white. We're into added time. 3 minutes. There's 40 seconds. Blow the whistle, ref. 30 seconds to play. 10 seconds left. Blow the whistle, referee. Manchester United have won the Champions League. We've actually done it in our 3rd season. And with 11 minutes to spare, Manchester United are champions of Europe. I'll tell you what, I'll give away a copy of FM26 to the best comment on this video. That's fair, right? I'm sorry, I've snatched it away at the end. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. There's loads of FM26 content coming. See you next time. Subscribe.